Welcome to Should I Play, and today we are talking about my first impressions of the Titanfall multiplayer beta, and it is freaking awesome. Keep in mind that a lot of the things I'm going to say here may relate to the beta. So, the beta was released yesterday, and after a lot of trouble trying to get into it, I finally had a couple of hours to play it, and my impression is very, very good. A lot of my concerns have been addressed, a lot of the issues I initially had have gone completely out the window, and I want to talk to you about how awesome this game is shaping up to be. So, let's address the AI bots. This was something that was kind of controversial for a lot of people, and especially me. Now, the bots in this game are really dumb, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like the game only has 6 people versus another 6 people. The action is kept very close together, and this is partly due to the interplay between the pilots and the Titans, as well as the level design. So, the pilots are very agile. They can do lots of parkour. They've got the double jump, which means there's much more verticality in the levels. And the levels lend themselves well to this type of game. They are expertly designed with lots of nooks and crannies to get through, but also lots of open spaces for the Titans to engage in. Now, these maps are pretty critical to the game's design. Titans are very powerful. If you get one Titan against one pilot, the pilot is done. Titans can just tear through things, but at the same time, they are not completely invulnerable. Titans in closed spaces can be ambushed by other pilots, and this is where the sort of strategy of the game comes in, where pilots who are good at maneuvering through the map and are able to get higher vantage points and hide in spaces and take down the Titans with their anti-Titan weapons makes it really exhilarating experience, especially when a pilot bails out of a Titan and then takes out some other Titans. It's just awesome how it all works together. The pilots are very easy to control. The parkour is simple and pretty much mapped to 2 buttons, which means that it's all just done really well. And the Titans, believe it or not, are actually pretty easy to control and maneuver. Even though they're big, they are still somewhat agile compared to the mechs you're probably thinking of when you play a game. These mechs can move around fast, and they've got a lot of firepower, which you can customize. Now, this game has customization, but in the beta it's kind of bare bones, but I'm kind of happy that it's bare bones, because I'm starting to think that the game is going to be sort of like this, where there aren't many attachments you put on. The only attachments you can really change is the sight and the clip. That's it. And I like it that way. Whereas the Call of Duty games that were developed by Respawn, who were before Infinity Ward, kind of added too many attachments, I would say. This feels more balanced. The game itself does feel very balanced, but there are some gripes I have with the design at the moment. So most of the weapons are really, they're fair. There's a good diversity in terms of them. They do a decent amount of damage. But there is the smart pistol, and this is overpowered as hell. It locks onto players, anybody, including, not just the AI, but pilots. And it takes them out with extreme prejudice, and I think it needs to be nerfed. It only takes 3 bullets to kill you, and those 3 bullets lock on very quickly. So that is something that does need to be fixed. Let's talk about the damage model while we're speaking of weapons. The grunts, which are the weakest AI, are very easy to kill. I only take a few bullets. Spectres take a little bit more, and the pilots do take a fairly decent amount of damage. It's more than Call of Duty, but it's still less than Halo. They'll go down kind of a little bit faster than you would in a little bit slower than you would in Battlefield. And I think this is a good balance, where you do have the easy enemies, but when you come across an actual player, it's kind of a challenge. And this lends into the AI bots. I didn't know how well they'd incorporate the bots into the design, but I think that the bots are there as sort of not only a way of having it so that the action feels intense even though there's less players, because let's face it, if there were like 24 Titans running around, it'd kind of get a bit fucked. So I don't think they're there not only to do the sort of action, but it's also so that you kind of have to pick and choose your targets. It's easy to kill a bunch of AI, but if a human is mixed up a bunch of those AI, you need to identify the human. You can usually do that by picking out their sort of more complex maneuvers that they might be doing. And so this is where Titanfall comes into its own with this. It's more like a MOBA with that sort of element, but with Twitch shooting. And my concerns about the AI are really stupid, and I hope they get improved. But the AI sort of lends itself to this type of game, so I think they made a good conscious decision. So let's talk about graphics now. Graphics are kind of so-so, but to be honest with you, I don't mind because I'm having such a blast. And also, the graphics are kind of like this so that it's more of a 60 frames per second experience, whether you're playing on Xbox 360, Xbox One, or like I was on PC, which is the best way to go, by the way, get it on PC. The PC will benefit from a higher frame rate, a higher resolution, and just more control with a mouse and keyboard. So if you're going to get this game, or at least play the beta, play it on the PC. Now, the sound design. Oh man, the sound design is so good. Everything just sounds incredible. The Titans, the weapons, explosions, it's all great. And the music crescendos at just the right times. One of the things I liked about the other game I was playing, Metal Gear Rising, was that. And this game nails it. It does a fantastic job of putting you in this atmospheric thing that kind of feels very cinematic for a shooter. That's something it does really well, and that is due in part to the epilogue sections at the end of the levels where the people are trying to escape. Now let's talk about the content in this beta. So in the beta there are 2 maps, Fracture and Angel City. Fracture was from E3, Angel City was from the Angel City demo that was at Gamescom and PAX. There are 4 game modes: Attrition, which is essentially team deathmatch, and the other one that I'm interested in is Last Titan Standing, where it's pretty much about having the last Titan standing. Oh, and one last thing, the netcode in this game is incredible. You're not dying from behind fucking walls, there's no rubber banding, everything just plays so smoothly with these connections. I don't know what they did, but the netcode in this game is incredible. It lends itself really well, and it makes the game that much more enjoyable. Netcode is great. So, overall, final impressions of this beta. The beta is quite good. There have been a lot of issues with people trying to get in. I cut Respawn some slack because it's a beta, they're in crunch, and they're a relatively small team making the AAA game. Is this a killer app for the Xbox One? No, because it's on PC, but it is still a fantastic game. And I think it's going to be up there with some of the big giants this year as a Game of the Year contender just for its sheer fun. I haven't had this much fun with a shooter for a very long time. It's fast-paced, it's visceral, the pilots and the Titans work together incredibly well, and these guys know what they're doing in terms of delivering an experience that gives you an adrenaline rush, an experience that makes you feel like you're in control and that you are just a powerhouse, and that extends into just the way that the game plays with all this fast-paced action. Dropping players and AI is still extremely satisfying, more so than in a lot of other shooters. And it all just lends together really well. I'm having a blast playing this game, and I think they might have won me over, and I might actually, consider pre-ordering this game. Now, you will be seeing a lot of Titanfall on the channel from now on. There'll be Titanfall in all of my game rants for the coming weeks. And then once it releases, you'll see even more Titanfall gameplay. And I plan on doing a should I play on the actual Titanfall game with more in-depth information, as well as a full review of this game. So stay tuned for that. But, Respawn did a great job with this game, and I think they're blowing it out of the water. I'm having way more fun with this than I did with fucking Call of Duty Ghosts. It's incredibly fun. And all of my skepticism is gone out the window because this game is a blast. Try and get yourself into the beta. You won't regret it. So that was it for Should I Play the Titanfall Beta? Answer, hell yes. And as always, I'm Fringy, and have a good one.